Okay, so for us to start our basic drafting, all you need is your pattern master or your curve rule, your French curve rather, your armhole curve, and your basic straight ruler. It could be the metal ruler or the wooden one or this. So anyone you have can still be useful. Breezy unique channel. So if you're coming across our channel for the very first time, you're welcome. Do well to like, share, and subscribe if what we're doing here is inspiring you in a way. If you have this pattern master, you can manipulate anything. That this one can also help you make possible. You can do it with this. So we are going to start off with our straight ruler, and we have our tape measure as well as our marker here, and we have our measurement. I'm going to be putting it on the screen for you to see what is the actual inches that we're going to be making use of. So let's get started. See, I've already ruled a horizontal line like this, and this is going to be my starting line, which I will be using as my waist line or my waist point. Okay, because you have the vertical measurement and the horizontal measurement. The measurements are going to be popping up on the screen, and so you have this horizontal line ruled out for the waist point. So now I'm making use of a hip depth of 9 inches. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, and from the starting point I'm going to mark my 9 inches like so. Okay, you have to be well precise with your marking. 9 inches, that's going to be my hip depth. I'm going to re-establish that same line here. Meanwhile, this is going to serve as my folded end. The reason why I'm not folding this pattern paper is because I want to have my front sketch block and my back sketch block in one paper like this. But when you're marking on your own paper, you don't have to manage, because your front skirt bodies should always be on a fold, and then the back skirt bodies should be divided or multiplied by 2, because you're going to be establishing a zipper on your back bodies, okay, or your back skirt block. So you want to fold your front skirt block while you're drafting, so when you are done, you open it up and then you see a full skirt pattern. Okay, so now let's continue. I'm still going to use a piece of paper where I would fold to show you this and to show you how possible it is when we're done, but focus on this now, and then subsequently you're going to see that one from the miniature paper. Okay, so now I'm making use of a knee point of 19 inches or 21 inches, but apparently my paper is not going to give me that room, so we're going to minimize. So I'm going to use 18 inches, 18 or 19. Let me use 19 inches. Okay, and that 19 inches is going to serve as my full length, my skirt full length. Okay, my skirt full length is going to be 19 inches. So now my hip depth, and this is my knee point. Okay, so we are done with this, and to also put on some emphasis out there, the reason why you see some people draft their skirt and they would have a dot on the bodies or the block of the skirt is for 2 reasons. Either they are about to manipulate the skirt to give a different illusion, or they are trying to hide the physiques of the person that they are working with that is on a bigger side. Okay, for instance, if someone that you're working for has a bigger stomach, you want to avoid adding that to their measurement. But if the person you're working for is on a petite size and they are actually small, you don't want to be making their outfit without that, because it's going to come out looking so saggy and not well fitted on the body. So now we're going to be making this skirt pattern for someone that has a flat stomach, right? So we're going to be introducing our dart in this particular skirt pattern that we're going to make. So now let's go. My round waist measurement is 35 inches, and divided by 4, like we said. When you are working with circumferences, you divide by 4. When you're working with verticals, okay, straight lines, you are probably likely going to be dividing by 2. Okay, guys, the pencil skirt pattern. Before we go over to the straight skirt pattern, now you can use just one pattern and then manipulate it to any type of skirt that you want to make, okay? But this is the basic skirt block first that you should be conversant with, and it's going to help you. So now we've gotten to the stage where we've marked out our horizontal line. So what we did first here was, for the sake of the video because it skipped at some point, we marked our starting point line like so, and that would save us as our waistline. And then the next thing, we make use of our hip depth measurement, which was 9 inches. The vertical measurement for our hip depth is 9 inches. And then we made use of the knee point as our full length. So our knee point is 19 inches and we marked 19 inches. Yours can be 20, 21, 23. Okay, so now depending on how tall you are. Okay, so for this video we're going to be making use of a hip depth of 9 inches and a knee point or a knee length of 19 inches. So after marking out the vertical point, we connected the lines horizontally like so. Okay, that's why you're seeing this horizontal line. Next thing we did was to go ahead and impute our circumference measurement. Our waist circumference is 35 inches. Divided by 4 is going to give you 8.75, which we marked here. This is the 8.75. And I taught you how to interpret and also read your table, so that wouldn't be a problem for you to identify where your inches stops on your table. So the next one is for us to go ahead to our hip depth measurement, and this would save as our knee, our hip point, where we mark our hip circumference. So the hip circumference that I'm working with is 45 inches. Divided by 4 will give you 11.25, and I went ahead to mark my 11.25 here. And then we say that the easiest formula for you to go about getting your knee circumference is simply dividing your hip measurement by 4 and taking out 1.5 inches, 1 inch or 2 inches away from that full measurement, and then you mark it on your knee point as your knee circumference. So I did 11.25 minus 1.5, and that gave me 9.75. So I'm going to mark the 9.75 here. Okay, so that's where my 9.75 is. And let us do the magic and see if this is going to work. So left for me, I would have loved for us to, deal with the straight skirt measurement. Now the difference between the straight skirt and the pencil skirt is, for a pencil skirt, you take out from your hip measurement about 1 inch or 2 inches away from your hip measurement, and then you mark it on your knee point. But for a straight skirt, whatsoever you have on your hip point is what you mark on your knee point. I don't know if that's sticking or you can actually understand what I'm saying. For a straight skirt pattern, right, whether it is a midi skirt, a long skirt, a short skirt, a skimpy, whatever type of skirts that you're making, but when you are dealing with a straight skirt, the measurement that you have when you divide your circumference by 4 on your hip point is the same thing that you're going to mark on your knee point or on your full length, right, for a straight skirt. But for a pencil skirt, you're going to take out from what you have as your hip circumference divided by 4 whatsoever answer you get, or the variables that you get, minus 1.5 or 2 inches or 3 inches depending on the kind of fitting you want. Okay, remember, you always want to give room for your legs to be free so you can walk, or you want to mount bike, you want to enter a car or something. You want to still have that ease and freedom. So as you are taking off, be conscious of that too. So I'm going to do the straight measurement and then the pencil measurement. So now let's say for instance that our straight skirt was the first thing we're going to treat. So I had 11.25 on my hip point. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the same 11.25 on my knee point, which actually is my full length. Pattern master this way, okay, and then you place it like so, and then you connect. All right, you connect to where you have your hip point as so, and then you switch, and then you connect to your full point. Okay, so you can see that the shape of the skirt is gradually coming out. It's gradually coming out. Now if you want to go ahead to mark your allowance, you can add it on your pattern paper. Now this is a simple straight skirt pattern for someone who is, you know, big around the tummy line. You don't want to include any form of that to their measurement in order to hide their stomach. But if you were to be working with someone that has a very small stomach, a slim waistline, what you want to do is to give fitting to the skirt, and that is going to lead us to the next form or the next pattern on how to draft this. So before you take your full circumference divided by 4, what you want to do is include your dart measurement in your intake. Okay, so let's say your waist is 8.75 and you want to make use of the 1 inch dart allowance. Just include 1 inch, and that is going to give you a total of 9.75. And then instead of marking 8.75, you're going to end up marking 9.75. So with this, your dart is inclusive in your measurement. Okay, and then you connect. Okay, the dart is only going to be useful on the waist point. Don't add that to your hip point, please. Okay, there is no measurement like that. Okay, so now for a skirt that would have a dart pattern or a dart fitting, what you want to do is add the dart measurement. And once you're done adding the dart measurement, you go ahead to mark the remaining side of your horizontal measurement. And once you're done, you want to take your dart measurement now. So you easily come to where you have your folded end of your fabric like so, and then you come in with your dart measurement. For instance, your bust span measurement is your dart measurement, and my bust span is 7 inches. When you divide it by 2, it's going to give you 3.5. So I'm going to come here and mark my 3.5 from the folded edge, and I will take my dart length. Because you have a dart length, you cannot take your dart all the way to the skirt except you are manipulating your skirt to another illusion or another design. Okay, so for the front skirt length, for the front dart length, we're going to be working with the 4 inches dart length. Okay, and then when you mark your dart length, you're going to go ahead and connect it with a straight ruler like so, and then you go over to your waist point again. From the middle of that straight line you had, mark half of an inch to the left, half of an inch to the right, and that is your 1 inch that you left here. That's what we're taking off from this point now. So you go ahead and then you connect your dart legs. Okay, you connect your dart legs like so. So with this, you have successfully imputed your dart measurement. Okay, so what you want to do is to go ahead and notch this point, and then you are good to go. This is for a straight skirt pattern. Then if we were to make this pattern a pencil skirt, okay, this is what we'll do. The upper bodies doesn't have any effect. All you have to do is, I'm going to use my blue marker to establish this. When you are done connecting your hip point to your waist point, and then you flip your pattern master like so, connect from your hip point to the 1.5 inches that you minus, or your 2 inches, or your 2.5, or your 1 inch. Mine was 1.5, so I'm going to connect. I'm going to connect using a blue marker, so you can see that the width of my skirt here is absolutely smaller than the one on my hip point, and that is because this is a pencil skirt pattern, and then this is a straight skirt pattern. Don't mind the way my pattern is curvy like this. This is actually how it should be if it's a pencil skirt, or if it is a straight skirt, you can actually work with your pattern master. You can do a freehand, you know, sketching, but I don't think that you are straight at your hip point. Okay, your hip point is not straight, so that's why I avoid using a straight line from the beginning. So it is better to use your pattern master to give yourself that silhouette, the right silhouette that you have on your body. Okay, so this is all we have for the front skirt pattern, both for the straight skirt and for the pencil skirt. Please, if you have any comments to make, use the comment box down below. You have any question, you can ask on the comment box down below. And I'm going to be drafting the back skirt. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to roll my straight line to demarcate my front block from the back block. Okay, so once again, I'm going to mark my starting point, which is going to serve as my waistline. This is going to be my waistline. Okay, let me use my black marker, and then I would go ahead just the way I did for the front. But before you mark your point, you want to mark 2 inches or 1.5 inches or 1 inch, depending on how good you are a beginner. So you should give more room. Should, in case you make a mistake, you can adjust. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and mark 1.5 inches or 2 inches, as the case may be, from the starting point of your fabric or your pattern paper to the full length. Okay, go ahead and mark. If you're taking 1.5, mark 1.5 all the way. If you're taking 2 inches, mark 2 inches all the way. If it's 1 inch, mark 1 inch all the way, and then connect it with a straight ruler. Connect those. Okay, so this is where your zipper allowance starts, and this is where it ends. And then all your horizontal measurement is going to start from this point inward, right? So for us to mark our back skirt block, for the straight skirt, I'm going to illustrate, and also the pencil skirt. Now there's something I want you to know, right? Let's take our horizontal measurement for the back pattern, or the back block. So the waist measurement we made use of was 8.75 plus our 1 inch dart allowance. That's going to give you 9.75. So just go ahead and mark 9.75. Okay, that's our 9.75 point. And then on our hip point, we have our hip divided by 4, which was 11.25. So on your hip point, you're going to mark your hip divided by 4, and for me, that is going to be the point to establish it. And then, like I said, for the back basic block, if you are drafting your straight skirt, So if you were working with a straight skirt on the front block, you're also going to work with a straight skirt on the back block. If you're working with a pencil skirt on the front block, do the same thing on the back block. Okay, so if you were working with a straight measurement, a straight skirt measurement, just go ahead and duplicate what you have on the hip point on your knee point. Okay, so and then you go ahead and connect. I want to use this French curve this time around to connect and show you, okay, how you can also use your French curve to get your hip. So now you switch, and then you connect. It's actually going to be a little bit stressful. So mine is on the edge of the fabric already, which is supposed not to be. So for the straight skirt, it's going to come all the way from your hip point to your knee point. All right, now for the pencil skirt, all you need to do is come in by 1.5 inch the way you did on the front, and that's going to give us 9.75, and then we'll mark 9.75 here. Okay, and then we'll connect on the hip point, and that's our back block. Make sure you don't have any sharp edge. Then let's go ahead to draft our dart. So just like when you were doing on the front, you're going to mark your bust span distance. Mine was 3.5 because it's 7 inches. So I'm going to take 3.5. Then for the back dart length, we're going to make use of 5 inches. Okay, you can choose to make use of 6 inches, you can choose to make use of 5 inches, but the back dart length is usually longer than that of the front. So for front we use 4 inches. For the back I want to make use of 5 inches. So now you can go ahead and confirm your measurement from your starting point to where you marked, if you're actually on the right line, or if you've achieved your perfect line. Okay, so you go ahead and then you connect those points together, and again place your tape on the middle point, mark 1/2 inch to the left, 1/2 inch to the right, and then you connect the dart legs to the 1/2 inch on the left, that's on the right, and this is your dart, and this is your dart. So it doesn't matter if this doesn't matter if you're using this skirt pattern for a long skirt or a short skirt or a midi-length skirt or a micro skirt. All that matters is you being able to place your dart the way it should be. And then for you to avoid a zip bulge, okay, because you're going to take care of the zip bulging, so when you are done stitching your skirt, it's not going to poke out, right? Avoid the zip bulge. What you're going to do is come to your hip point, because your skirt zip might likely be around 8 inches. Okay, so your hip depth is 9 inches and your skirt zip is going to be at 8 inches. Okay, so that's 1 inch away from your hip point. So what you're going to do is, from that point, go up by 1.5 inches or 1 inch. Okay, go up by 1.5 inches or 1 inch, and then you mark Go out from that point. If you made use of 1.5 inches allowance, go out from that point by half of an inch. Okay, and then you mark. Right, you can choose to also place your tape this way and mark. Is still the same thing. And then on your waist point, go out by 1 inch. Okay, and then you connect from your half-inch point to your 1 inch point on the waistline, and then you take that measurement the way you want it to be. Is all left for you. Some people literally leave it this way. Connect and blend it with your actual zipper line that you had before. So from here now, right, you can go ahead and cut it out, or you can decide to take your zip contouring from your knee point or from your full length. Okay, so what you do is on that full length you come out by, if you want to take 1 inch or half of an inch, you can still do that. Or let's say we're taking 1 inch from the full length. From the hip length we're taking 1 inch. So what we're going to do is connect from your full length to your hip point, and from the hip point you take it to your waist point. So whichever way you want to do, you can also contour from up coming down, and you can contour from down going up. Which one works for you, just make use of it. But for me, this is the one that I usually make use of, where I would either go up by 1 inch from my hip point and then go out by half of an inch, and then from my waistline I'll go out by 1 inch, and then I connect and I blend it out. It still gives me my perfect shaping. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and cut this out and you are good to go.